Fine, it's totally fine. Um, so, to me, the solstice is a really special time of the year. It's this beautiful, universal, like the whole world is experiencing it, either coming into summer or coming into winter, or not coming into, but the center of the summer or the center of the winter. Um, and it's this beautiful time where we really, in our hemisphere, we get to reflect on the darkness starting to turn toward the light. And this has been quite a year where a lot of people have really suffered. And to me, it's an incredibly joyful moment when we start to feel that the light is coming. Um, and it can be symbolic by the vaccines are coming. It could be symbolic by whatever it is that you see. But there is this solar energy right now that is greater than ourselves, that can really help us to support this uplift, this sense of hope and faith that we are trying to cultivate within us. This morning I was at Red Rocks at sunrise, and there was a lot of hooping and hollering and drumming to welcome in the sun. And to me, and then this evening I'm going to a whole different experience of the solstice, where it's a much more contemplative. We're doing a spiral walk where you walk in a double pine bough spiral, and it's dark and there's a center light, and you light your candle from the center light and then leave your candle along the spiral, and by the end of it, it turns out to be a spiral of light. So it's this beautiful labyrinth walk that a lot of people join in. You're welcome to come. It's free, it's outside, it's socially distanced, and it is at the church at 6th and Adams. It's not run by the church. A friend of mine is putting it together. And I've done this for many years now, each solstice, and it's a really beautiful contemplative practice. And to me, those are the two juxtapositions of this day, is that we have at once this deep cave feeling of dark, and the healing power of going within and going into the contemplative dark places within us, where quiet and solitude and contemplation really lived so deeply. And at the same time, the joy, the exuberance of being able to find light coming within you. So think about your own light. So close your eyes for a moment and think about the ways in which maybe your light has been dim, and maybe the solar energies all around us, and the confluence of Saturn and Jupiter that are happening today as well, can help us to bring forth this inner light. And never doubt the power of your light to touch the world, all the people in your life that you touch with your light. Let's take a moment to find that juxtaposition within yourself of the quiet and the dark, that healing that happens in the quiet and the dark. And imagine with your eyes closed that you have a candle lit right inside your heart. And it's this dark space that's illuminated by a single flame. And that soft light of a candle, and how beautiful that illumination can be. And can you imagine this little small light within yourself? And this is the seed of the solstice. Each day shining a little brighter. So let's take a moment to feel into that heart light. Can you tend your own light? What is it that's needed to tend your own light? What kind of practices do you need to cultivate within yourself? Do you need more rest? Do you need more joy? Do you need more connection? Do you need more contemplation? What do you need to expand your light? And how can you make a commitment on this bright solar day to cultivate that within yourself? So sit quietly within that candlelight inside your heart and feel yourself ground. Come into the weight of your pelvis. Come into the quiet inside your body. Feel the flow of your breath. See what it feels like to illuminate from the center outward, as if you are the candle flame. Expand through your crown, your tail, expand your collarbones. Let the entire chest fill with light and brightness. Let's place our hands together at our heart and take a moment to offer what is your intention for the bringing of the light. What do you want to grow? What wishes do you have for the world, for yourself? Can you bathe yourself in gratitude? All right, let's release the hands and come onto your back. All right. Go ahead and stretch your body out and lengthen through your limbs for a moment. If it's comfortable, stretch your arms overhead and just feel the reaching of one side and the reaching of the other side, that awakening of the spine, the opening of the side rims of the body. See if you can let the light shine out through the ribs. And then rest for a moment. Take your limbs in a comfortable place. And let's just experience a little bit of this navel radiation that we often think about in our practice, where we're radiating from the center outward and back home again. So find a center point. It might be where you feel your breath originate in your body. It might be the center of your heart or the center of your third eye. It doesn't really matter, but just find a center point within yourself. And just see what it feels like to expand outward from that center place, like the light of a flame, all the way to your limbs. So you have 6 limbs: your legs, your arms, your crown, and your tail. So see what it feels like to expand to your 6 limbs all the way to their edges on the in-breath. And then relax and melt back in toward that center point on your out-breath. So there doesn't have to be a lot of muscular energy just yet. Just see what it feels like to energetically open and expand yourself like the light of a candle flame, outward to your edges and back home again. Feel both the exuberance, the joy of connecting outward, spreading your light, sharing light, receiving others' light, and at the same time, allowing yourself to relax and melt into the deep inner world. Which do you need for more healing? Do you need more outward expression of connection, movement, laughter, joy, any music, anything that expands you to connect to others? Or do you need more quiet and contemplation and introspection? Do you feel balance? Do you have preference for one or the other? All right, and then let's start to have more expansion. So stretch your limbs now a little muscularly. Maybe wiggle out your toes or fingers. Perhaps turn your head from one side to the other. Just reach into the edges of your body. And then exhale and bring your knees into your chest. Pick your head up and hug strongly into the center of your body. Starfish out on your in-breath, opening wide. Exhale, drawing in, head to knees. One more time. Stretching your limbs wide and out. Exhale, drawing your limbs in. Relax your head down onto the ground. Take your feet onto the floor. Windshield wiper your knees. Let's just open up the sides of our bodies in a little different way, just feeling the rims of you. Let the arms stretch away from the knees. So as the knees go left, arm stretches right, and then switch. All right, and then relax and bring your knees into your chest. Open your knees wide and then bring them back in. Just feel that sense of moving away from your midline and then back in toward the midline. How's your breath? And then with your knees tucked in, roll your ankles around, wiggle through your feet. Feel that sense of awakening, getting your feet to rise out of their tightness that happens when we put them in shoes all the time. Let them spread out and wake up and look around. And then one more time, starfish, open the body, expand. And then as you exhale and draw your knees in, roll over onto your side and come up onto your hands and your knees. Find your way onto all fours. All right, so cat-cows, enjoy. So maybe you can look for places in your body that you need to scrub out a little bit. Are there any dark places that have been hiding from light? Have you been a little too quiet in the body? Has there been places where you kind of feel a little stagnant? Maybe you've been sitting a lot, hunched over a computer screen. Maybe you've been driving a lot. Maybe you've just, whatever you've been doing, if you've been still, just see what it feels like to open the spine up and find all the little places where windows can open. And let's have some deep gratitude for our vertebrae, the health of our vertebrae, our spine, the way our nervous system works so well. All right, and then move things around. So swirl through your hips, roll around inside your body, any kind of movement pattern that feels really good. And then if it's comfortable for you, after a little bit more movement, pick up your feet. This may not be good for your knees, so just decide. Feet off the ground, just a couple of inches, and just sway your feet left and right. And if that's uncomfortable, feet on the ground and just sway your tail left and right. So we're, wagging, okay? Getting some freedom in the spine, and then stretch back towards child's pose. Take your hips back toward the heels, relax your forehead into the floor. Take a moment and wiggle out your fingers. Flip your palms open to the sky maybe and roll around in your wrists. Just find some awakening. Maybe open and close your fists quickly. Just awaken the tips of your arms. Walk the hands over to the left side of your mat. Open that right side body up and enjoy all the windows, like the rib cage or just little windows for that inner light to shine some beams out through. And see if you can find the windows on the side of your vertebrae too. So those little pockets where the spine comes out, or the nerve roots come out of the spine. See if you can open up those little windows too. Get some space. Breathe. And then come back to center. Walk the hands over to the other side. Feeling some stretch and openness in the outer rim as well as right up against your spine. Share your light. Open your ribs. Find your breath. Relax your head. And then come back onto all fours and come up. We're going to just, before we twist, take your left foot straight back behind you. Curl your toe under. Stretch through your calf. We're going to cross that leg over the body. Square hips toward the floor. Square shoulders toward the floor. And turn and look out over that foot. Take a deep breath in here, a deep breath out. And then come back to center and place that knee down. Take your right foot back, curl the toes under, stretch your calf for a moment, square your hips and shoulders to the floor, look down, cross that foot over to the left, and then turn your head and turn your torso and open up through the side of your lumbar spine. And then come back to center. Come up onto all fours, a moment of any kind of movement that feels good, a cat-cow, whatever is working. And then walk your knees a little further back and take your torso down toward the floor. So puppy pose, the hips lift, the thigh bones move back. We're dropping the chest, but lifting under the armpits. Feel the thoracic spine open here. So enjoy the thoracic spine back bend. Breathe deeply. And then come back, walk your knees forward again. Inhale, lift the left arm up in the air. Exhale and slide that shoulder down. Finding a twist. Drop your shoulders away from the ears, gaze toward the floor. Deepen your breath. Relax your eyes. And then inhale and reach that arm all the way to the sky. Open your chest. Place that hand down onto the ground. Second side, lifting the arm up. Exhale and sliding the arm through. Gaze toward the floor. Relax your neck. Push your hand into the ground a bit. Open the breath. Thigh bones move back. Try not to let your hips shift off to the side. Inhale, reach that arm all the way back up. Place the hand down onto the ground and find dog pose. Hands spread out wide, curl the toes under, and let's find our way up. So enjoy this. Take any time you need to find some pedaling of your feet, to open up the feet, feel the Achilles stretch, the calves, feel the sit bones lift and widen. The hamstrings are broadening, not just lengthening. Feel the work of the upper body. So instead of just collapsing into our shoulder joints, have a little hug under your armpits and instead hug the hands toward each other. So invigorate the torso, relax the neck. See what it feels like to expand your in-breath out to all 6 of your limbs. Exhale and return to that deep, dark place. Relax the eyes. And then walk your feet forward. Come into Uttanasana, fold in half. Feel free to wag your tail, roll around in your shoulders, any movement that's necessary. Inhale for a halfway lift. The thigh bones move back, the spine is growing. Feel the half lift, so hang out here for a little bit. Feel the sit bones lift, the knees are soft, the spine grows. Expand and lengthen, crown to tail on your in-breath. As you exhale, fold, bend your knees, relax a bit, push off your feet, rise up, bringing the arms to the sky. Reaching up, if you're not comfortable with up, you can always make a different choice. If you're dizzy, squeeze to the midline. If you're comfortable, press your palms out and up in the air. So the palms are facing up toward the sky, the fingers are interlaced. Reach and lengthen, take your side body and get a little bit of length in here. So as you open your side body up, what does it feel like to stay rooted and grounded through your feet, opening up through the sides? Come back to center, switch the fingers, other cross, open up this way. Relax your neck. Stay rooted through your feet. Soften your knees, inner spiral of the thighs, the sit bones widen. Come on up. Open your chest, cactus, open the arms, open chest, open heart, shine that light. And then exhale and release. Roll the shoulders and then have some big shoulder circles here. Just get some movement in your shoulder joints, in your ribs, in your collarbones, your shoulder blades. Then interlace your hands behind your back. Bend your knees and come forward. Relax your skull. Melt the base of your skull and release the hands down. Step back to dog pose. Find your breath here. We're going to roll through into some planks. So as you come forward into a plank, roll the spine. See if you can have each vertebrae find their place. And then open the heart and come forward into a plank. Core is strong. And then find your rolling spine back. Breathe as you go. Take your time, a couple times through this rolling pose, coming forward into a plank. The chest broadens and opens. Exhale and round your way back. Sit bones high, long through your side bodies. Take your knees down onto the ground and let's come into dolphin pose. So forearms on the ground. You can take your hands on a block if you want. You can hold the edges of a block with the palms, or you can have your hands down onto the ground, whatever feels good. Curl your toes under and lift on up. Open the sides of your body. Reach them up toward the sky. Find your breath. Crown and tail lengthening away from each other. Hug a bit toward the midline. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Let the lats and the serratus muscles along your side ribs support you here.
And then we're going to walk our feet back and come into a forearm plank. So as you come down, hold steady. You can always put your knees onto the floor if you need it. There's lots of ways to support yourself in this pose. Shoulders are over the elbows, chest is broad, collarbones broad. Find your breath, and then let yourself melt all the way to the floor. Sphinx pose, open the chest, forearms are still here, shoulders away from the ears, extend the sides. Exhale and melt. Take your hands closer to your torso now, in line, fingers in line with your nipples, elbows are moving back. Open your chest, cobra pose. Stabilize your lumbar spine with your core. Find your way down. Engage your glutes, engage your thighs, engage your core. Lift on up. And then exhale and melt back down. Come up onto all fours. Swivel and sway. Move your spine around however your spine wants to move. Take a moment and come grab a blanket or two, and you might need a block as well. We're going to take 2 blankets or 1. I'm going to demonstrate with 2, but you can stack 1. I have them long fold, so skinny long fold blankets, one on top of the other. We're going to take our hip joint on the bolster. You can also use a bolster if you have a bolster. And I'm going to put a block between my shins. You don't have to do that, but that's nice. Come down to rest. Okay, so it's a pretty big side stretch. We're going to open up the arm over our head. I have a couch here in my way, so I'm just going to put my hand on my couch. You can also have your arm up in the air. So make sure your hip joint is on the bolster, not your side waist. Make sure you're not tipping forward or tipping backward. Try to find yourself stacked. Find some breathing. All right, and then we're going to roll right onto our belly so the pelvis is supported now with those blankets. Have some breaths. Be prone, facing the ground, belly down. You can turn your head to one side or pancake one hand on top of the other so your forehead can rest and have a little pocket for your nose. How does it feel to have support underneath your pelvis? Can you enjoy the breath? Can you enjoy the breath moving into the back of the body? What does it feel like to shine the light in the back side of your heart? So when we're trying to be broad, it's not just about opening your chest forward to everybody in front of you and shining forward. Shine all directions. Okay, we're going to roll over to the other side. So now we're coming onto our left hip. And as you do this, you can have a block between your shins if you want. Make sure your hip joint is on the center of the bolster. Arm can come up overhead if you want. You can even hold another block between your hands. Breathe deeply. I think I'm luckier than all of you because when I put my arm up, I'm holding my cat's hand. So I have softness in my palm, so that's nice. Okay, let's come back around one more time onto your belly. If you turned your head, turn it the other way now. You can have your head pointing straight. Enjoy the bolster, 1 or 2 blankets underneath your pelvis. What does it feel like to breathe into the back of the body? All right, let's go ahead and come on up, all fours again. Feel free to take child's pose if your back's ready for that deep of a stretch, or just stay on all fours. You can either come up with your right foot forward or find dog pose first and then bring your right foot forward, whatever feels right to you to get into a lunge. With your right foot forward, have your blocks, extend through your legs, heart is open. Feel the chest broaden, the collarbones broaden. Let's go back and forth, stretching open the hamstrings a little bit, square the hips, tuck the chin toward the chest as you straighten the leg a bit. Bend your knee and let your chest expand forward, collarbones wide. Remember, we're always moving with breath. We are the breath. We are never without the breath. As much as you can, stay present with that. All right, let's go ahead and find a lunge. Reach all the way up, crescent lunge. With the arms, you can have them on your sides. You can bring your arms up. You can have some platters in your hands, whatever feels nice in your body. Open up the chest. See if you can feel that full rim of your torso, that we're not just pushing our chest forward, we're opening the side bodies, opening the back body. Find your breathing. Okay. If you're comfortable, reach the arms up overhead now. Either grab onto that left hand with the right wrist, or put your hand on your thigh, or put your hand on a block. There's so many different ways to go about this. Open up the side rim of your body here. Stay in your lunge. Stretch through that back leg. Keep breathing. And then when you're ready, cross the arm over. Place the elbow to the outer knee. Hand comes to rest on your right shoulder. Spread your collarbones. Twist your way on your breath. Lift the back femur bone. Hug to the midline with your inner thighs. Remember your 6 limbs. Expand on your inhale. Hug in on your exhales. And then rise out of there, crescent lunge one more time. Place the hands down onto the ground. Back foot comes forward. Fold here, relax your hips. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Our left foot is now forward. Our right foot is coming back to a lunge. Warm your legs up a little bit. Stretch open your hamstrings. So we're moving from a lunge into a straight, kind of like Parsvottanasana, but a little longer. Just stay with the movement of your breath. You can bend and straighten that front knee. Square hips, deep expansive breathing. So when you are ready, find your way into a lunge, steady yourself, and rise up. You decide where you want your arms to be, whether they come up high or they come out to the sides. Have your elbows close in and your palms up, reaching back. Breathe here, stabilize, root yourself down. Remember your limbs, all 6 of them. So expand into your feet. Expand into your arms, expand into your crown and tail. When you're ready, let's find some openness through the sides so you can bring your hand on your thigh. You can grab on with your hand in the air. You can even put your hand on a high block. So you decide how you want to be in space, opening up the rim of the body, breathing well. And then come back to center. Bring your hands down onto the ground and step on back, dog pose. Feel the neutral pelvis. Relax the SI joints into place. Roll your spine forward, come into a plank. Breathe here. And then go ahead and relax yourself down onto the floor. So bend your knees, put them on the ground first if you want. Find your breath. We're going to do something a little differently. So move your blocks out of the way if they are in your way. You guys have done this with me before. You have to have your arms up for this. So I'll give you a plan B if this is not available to you. We're going to come up with everything and we're going to roll onto our back and come into boat pose. And then we're going to roll forward and come into Superman and roll the other side and come into boat pose and then back. So if you need to kind of move some stuff around, if you need some space, move things out of the way. Hopefully you have enough space to do this. And if that's not comfortable, if your arms overhead is not possible, or just rolling feels like that's too precarious for your back or you're a little bony, that's fine. Just do each pose separately. So come into Superman and then come down, roll over onto your back, come into boat pose, and then come on down. So experiment. Do you want to go again? How are you moving fast through this? Can you keep your limbs off the ground? Play. Let this be a game, like hot lava. You don't want to touch the floor. All right, and then once you are done, evenly on both sides, come back up onto all fours and swirl around, either a cat-cow or some swishing and swaying with your hips. whatever feels nice to you. Find your way to dog pose when you're ready. So as you lift yourself up, enjoy. So this is a lot of length in your body. There's a lot of ability to feel your limbs expand, all 6 of them. Let's enjoy also not just the expansion, but the deep, dark, contemplative state of resting your head down, closing your eyes. Dog pose is like the epitome of this balance, this juxtaposition of the solstice, of finding the deep, contemplative inner space and also expanding yourself outward, growing your light. Breathe here. And then as you're ready, lift the right leg up in the air. Take a breath. Exhale, knee to your nose. Squirrel in on yourself. Get snug up. Then do it again. Inhale, reach that leg up. This time we'll come to a lunge. So plant your foot down. Find your balance. And we're going to come back up into crescent lunge. Okay. Turn and open yourself up to the side. You might need a block where we're going. Find your breath. Triangle pose first. All right, so with triangle pose, remember we're tipping the pelvis. So unlike Virabhadrasana, where we're trying to keep the pelvis balanced left and right, with triangle pose, we're tipping the hips. So allow that tip to happen. Either hold on to a block or put your hand on your leg somewhere. Be very light with your hands so that, especially if you're near your knee, you don't want to hyperextend your knee in this pose. Move the shoulders away from the ears and feel the expansiveness of this posture. And take as much support as you need. So you can even use 2 blocks. You have one with another on top so you're not going too deep. Sometimes depth is contrary to space. So allow space. Go into the open heart, the expansion of all 6 limbs, and find whatever depth you can find while not losing the spaciousness. Root into the feet, soften your knee joints. Breathe well. Shoulders are away from the ears. Become the breath. Heart to limbs. Limbs back to heart. Maybe your center point's in your belly. Maybe your center point's in your third eye. Wherever it is, expand away from it on your in-breath. Come back home to it on your exhale. All right, and then come back up and come into a reverse of your triangle pose. Let the side bodies grow here. Extend through your side. And then find your way into Parsva. So elbow on your knee, open your chest, enjoy. So what do you love about the standing poses? Is it the stamina and the stability and the sense of groundedness that comes to them? Is it the way your hips get to be in a different position than you normally have them? How about the side of your body? Is it able to open broadly through this pose from your heel to your hand? How is the state of your breathing? Are your shoulders comfortable? Do you have room in your neck? Does your side body feel long from your foot to your crown to your foot? Stay in the lunge and find your way into a reverse warrior here. Open the breath. And then come up with a straight leg back into triangle pose again. Find your breath here. Open yourself up. Stay rooted in your back leg. Stabilize through your core. So if you tend to get a little wonky in your low back in this pose, hug the transverse abdominis, or wrap around you. Turn your navel toward your left hip. All right, and then let's go ahead and turn toward that front leg. Bend your knee and come back to dog pose. Full breaths here. Full breaths in, full breaths away. When you come into dog pose, enjoy the symmetry of the pose. Enjoy the inner spiral of your thighs, letting your SI joints come into some softness, some harmony. Breathing in, breathing out. Let's lift the left leg up in the air. Exhale, knee to nose. Bring it on back. Exhale, lunge. Find your feet. Place them where you need them to be. Take your time getting there. Rise up again, crescent lunge. Extending through your spine. Full breaths. Full breaths in, full breaths away. Find your breathing. Let's open up the ribs here. I feel like I forgot to do the twist. So at least it feels that way in my body. So let's do this to the other side. Elbow to the knee, open the chest, hand on your thigh, lift that femur bone. You can always put your back knee down. Whatever you're doing, discover your breath. See what it feels like to expand on the inhale, to feel that sense of coming home on your exhale. And then unwind, reach the arms to the sky one more time. And then let's open up to the side here, finding the breath. Okay. Deep breath in, deep breath away. Let's find triangle pose. So the legs are straight, coming tipping. You can use 2 blocks. You can use 1 block. Find your breath. Shoulders are away from the ears. Root into the feet. Maybe the arms stay down at your side. Maybe your arms come up in the air. Are you feeling that sense of the pelvis tipping to the side? How's your knee? Is it soft? Are you creating space before depth? Are you able to expand to your limbs, all 6 of them? On your in-breath, are you able to come home to the deep center on the out-breath? And then come back up. Reverse your triangle pose. Reach that arm up in the sky. Find your breath. Bend your knee. Place your elbow on your knee. So be really mindful to not, hike your shoulders up toward your ears. Have some spaciousness. Open up through the spine. Take your arm up if you want. Take your hand on your hip or out to the side. What's giving you the capacity to flow from that center point out to your limbs and back again? Expand your light. Come into the deep center. Are you yielding into the earth? Do you feel connected? Can you keep moving your shoulders away from the ears? Is there a place of softness in your body somewhere? All right, now stay in the lunge with your legs and come into a reverse here. Open into a reverse warrior pose. Press your feet into the floor. Maybe look up. And then straighten your leg back into triangle pose one more time. Open across your chest. Stretch your arm in the air. Deep breaths here, both in and out. Find the expansion to all 6 of your limbs. Find the coming home. And then spin back to the front of your mat and find dog pose. Enjoy. Every time you come home to a symmetrical posture like this, let the hips and the SI joints settle like puzzle pieces back in their places. Enjoy the inversion. So drop the head, let the eyes close, feel that deep inner space. Breathe into the quiet inside your body. Come forward into a plank. Breathing well. All right, and then as you're ready, go ahead and find your way down onto the ground. Your knees can come down first if that feels safer for your body. Open things up, cobra pose or any back bend that feels nice, gentle, expansive. Rest back down. Come on to your right side. One more time, we're coming on to our side. No blanket this time, just on the ground. Okay. Find your breath. straighten out your legs. We're on a little knife edge. Find your breath, lift the arm in the air, lift the leg in the air. So, there's some balance. We're pretty close to the floor, so it's a nice, safe balance posture. Let's see what it feels to play the edge, to really be on the skinniest little edge that your body can balance upon. Toes are pointing straight forward. The legs are working, the glutes are working, the core is working. Find what you can to expand to your limbs. Hug back in. And then release, relax, roll onto your belly or onto your back, whichever way you want to go. And we're coming into the other side. So balancing on a little knife edge on your left. Go ahead and bring your right arm up in the air. When you're ready, you can lift your leg as well. Stabilize through your deep core. So this is this beautiful balance of expanding your leg outward, stretching through to all 6 of your limbs, at the same time as finding your deep, quiet center. Come home to that center point in your body. The whole midline can be your center point or one specific spot. Exhale there. Exhale right to there. Inhale to expand away. All right, and then release. Come out of there. Come up onto all fours. Find some cat-cows. Move your spine around any way you need to move your spine. Maybe you need to come into child's pose. So just find your way back into some harmony in the body. All right, and eventually, after you've nourished your back and kind of come into a softer, balanced place, find your way to dog pose. The right leg is lifting in the air. Exhale and bring your foot forward. Open up to the side. A block is nice. We're moving into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. So let's find our balance. As we come into this pose, and you can come however you want to get in there, we're going to find our way up. You can use furniture, blocks, anything you need to help you balance. Lift yourself up into half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. When you come into this posture, expand, stretch your crown and tail all the way to your foot in the air. Find all 6 limbs expanding. Find the stability as you hug back into the center. So this navel radiation and coming back home. Move with the breath. Can you feel both expansive and inward simultaneously? Feel the effort of that. Sometimes it's hard work to balance these forces. Sometimes it comes much softer. Don't worry if your balance is all over the place. Stay focused in the mind. All right, come out the way you came in. Come back out of there. And we're going to come and find the same pose on the second side. So as always, when you come into an externally rotated standing pose like Ardha Chandrasana, it's better to start in the external rotation like in warrior or triangle pose kind of vibe versus standing on 2 feet and then lifting your leg out. And same on the way back, you want to come out of the pose the way you came in instead of just turning your hip and putting your foot down onto the ground. Find your way into Ardha Chandrasana. Breathing your way here, you can support your leg, you can support your hand, whatever you need. You can put your whole back against a wall if you want to. The knee that you're standing on, try to be really mindful that you're not locked out. You want to stay soft as you find your way up into this pose. Spread beyond the knife edge of your body as much as you can. Spread open, stack shoulder over shoulder, rib over rib, hip over hip. Breathe into your 6 limbs, expand away. Shine your light, grow big. Now, when you're ready to come out, remember, go out the way you came in. Don't just turn your pelvis and put your foot down next to your other foot. Come back to center. Inhale, 2 arms up to the sky. Exhale and fold in half. Shake around, you can bounce, you can wiggle, however you want to be, upright or folded. And then we're coming down to the ground. Come to lie down on your back. Breathing well here. Okay, we're going to come into a bridge pose to kind of set the pelvis after doing some standing poses. Inhale, lift your hips up, tops of the shoulders moving into the earth. Open your heart up, get expansive in your rib cage. Try not to crush your neck into the floor. Nice and neutral with the cervical spine. Press your feet into the ground. Open up through the front line of the body, finding your breath. Extend into your limbs. Hug in toward the midline on your exhales. Maybe even the inner thighs become the midline point. All right, let's go ahead and rest. Come down through your spine. Let it melt on the floor for a moment. Enjoy the neutral spine. Keep your knees bent, your feet on the floor, and just rest your back. Deep breaths in, deep breaths away. We're going to stretch our thighs a little bit. Let's cross the right thigh over the left thigh. Have a block handy. We're going to need it in a moment. So just have it close by where you can reach it. Right thigh over left thigh. Bring the knees in. You can change this pose around. You can either hold on to the knees. You can travel down the shins with your hands. You can grab onto your feet, which will change where the stretch is significantly. If you don't like this pose, you can always do reverse pigeon pose instead. Let the spine be as neutral as possible. Melt, start to release the back of the head. Still expanding, crown to tail on the breath. All right, now's the time for the block. So lower your legs. The left foot is coming down onto the floor. We're going to lift our hips up and scooch over to the right a little bit. So we're resting more on our right hip. And then we're going to drop our knee, lift the knees a little higher toward your chest, and then drop them over to the right. Use the block to support underneath. I have it underneath my left knee and my left shin. You can have it underneath your right knee, wherever you feel like you need it. And then open the breath up. Deep inhale, deep exhale. Maybe turn the head to the left. All right, and then inhale, lift your knees. We're going to do same legs, right thigh over left thigh. Now we're going to scooch the hips to the right, and we're going to drop our knees left. So now the block goes underneath the left. I have it underneath my inner right knee now, but wherever your body goes, just counter the twisting. Breathe into the chest, the side bodies. All right, and then come back up. Unwind the legs. Bring your knees to your chest for a moment and rock. Just kind of work out any twisty kinks. Stretch your limbs all the way straight. Starfish your body. And then exhale, bring your knees into your chest, and we're going to put your right foot on the ground, cross the left thigh over the right thigh, bring the knees into the chest. Hold anywhere you want, knees, shins, feet. If you don't like this posture or you feel like you get a better stretch by coming into reverse pigeon pose, this is your practice and you get to do you however you feel you need. Okay, so finding the breath. Are you still able to expand through your limbs on your in-breath? Come home on your out-breath. All right, go ahead and lower your right foot to the floor. We're going to twist right first. Hips up, scooch them to the left so you're on your right hip a little bit more, and then drop your knees over to the right. You can put a block anywhere you want. I like it underneath my left inner calf, left inner knee, but you might want it under your feet or directly under your knee. Open your chest, turn your head in opposition, breathe. And then inhale and lift the knees back up. Unwind the legs, or don't unwind the legs, just scooch the hips, go the other way. And now we're going to twist. So I like to bring my knees up a little bit higher toward my chest before twisting. Put the block anywhere you need it to be. It can be underneath your calf or knee, either knee. Just see where your body needs it placed and find your breathing. Inhaling and exhaling. All right, let's come back to center. Stretch your limbs out for a moment. One more time, expanding from your center to your edges. Wiggle your fingers and your toes, and then bring your knees into your chest. You can pick your head up too if you want, and then rest your head down and rock a little bit. And you get to decide, what do you need now before Shavasana? We have a moment, so you can come into happy baby pose and stretch your back. You can put your feet in Baddha Konasana and just rest open. You can take a little bit longer of a Shavasana. Is there anything you need? Not just physically, not just like, oh, my knee needs this or my foot needs this, but in your heart space, in the sense of being able to have this balance between expansion and nurturing the inner space. As you find yourself coming into Shavasana, so take your time, anything you need before Shavasana. But as you find yourself coming into Shavasana, prepare. What props do you need? Are you cold? Do you want something over your eyes? Do you want a weight on top of you? Do you need a blanket? What support do you need for your back or your knees? So as you find Shavasana, let's be so present with coming into that nourishing, dark place where healing can deeply occur. As you find Shavasana, see what it feels like to fully drop your weight. So these limbs that we've been working with to expand and hug in with, now they get to just melt. So there's no muscular effort needed. It's just a matter of softening, settling, and resting.
Come into the deep rest of all 6 of your limbs. Start with your head. Let your head rest down. Soft face. Relaxed neck and jaw. Travel down that central axis until you get to the other expansive point of your tail. And can you rest your pelvis? And move into your legs and rest the weight of your legs. Go ahead and travel back up and feel the open heart resting. And rest your arms. Can you feel that you become the breath? You are the breath. You are the ebb and flow. You are the expansion and the condensement. You are the light out and the dark within. You are the breath. Let's begin to deepen our breathing again. Be conscious in your rest. Let's begin to move, stretch anything that feels the right way for you to come out of Shavasana. Coming onto your side, using your strength to help you upright. As you come to a seat, just bathe in your practice a bit. This balance between opening your heart and expanding your light outward, and taking deep care to nourish and tend to what's needed inside. And here is a solstice poem. I don't know who wrote it, so I can't give credit for it. Deep midwinter drawing near, darkness in our garden here. One small flame yet bravely burns to show a path which ever turns. Earth, please bear us as we go, seeking light to send a glow. Branches green and moss and fern mark our path to trace each turn. Animals teach us to serve with patience as you the earth do. We walk with candle toward the light, while earth awaits with hope so bright. In the light which finds new birth, love may spread over all the earth. Deep midwinter drawing near, may light arise in our garden here. So whatever your intentions are, let's add to them blessings of health for all the people on our planet. Blessings of health for the planet itself. And whatever else you're sharing and extending outward. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Happy solstice.